There comes a moment in inner development that almost no one warns you about. It doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't announce itself as a breakthrough. It shows up as a quiet realization. Logic doesn't feel safe anymore, not wrong, not useless, just unable to hold you. You notice it in small ways at first. The way you used to talk yourself down no longer works. The way explanations once brought relief now feel thin. You can reason through everything and still feel unsettled. You understand the situation. You've analyzed it from every angle. But something inside you still says no. And that's the moment most people panic, because we're taught that when logic fails, something is wrong with us. But this isn't regression. This isn't emotional instability, and it certainly isn't you losing your rational mind. It's something far more unsettling and far more honest. It's the collapse of borrowed certainty. For most of life, logic acts like scaffolding. It helps us organize chaos. It gives us structure, explanations, cause and effect stories that make the world feel predictable. Logic whispers promises we learn to trust. If I understand enough, I'll be safe. If I analyze carefully, I won't be hurt again. If I can explain it, I can control it. And for a long time, this works, until it doesn't. Because logic was never meant to guide the deepest layers of the psyche. It was designed to organize what's already conscious. But the most important signals in your life don't come from there. They rise from underneath thought, from the body, from sensation, from patterns you feel before you can name them. And eventually, your system recognizes this. That's when intuition begins to feel louder, not because it suddenly appeared, but because the mind stopped overpowering it. This shift rarely happens during comfort. It happens after loss, after betrayal, after burnout, after an identity quietly collapses, often after you've done everything right, and still ended up broken. You followed the plan, you stayed reasonable, you made the mature choice, and yet something essential inside you was violated. That's when the psyche updates its rules. It realizes logic alone cannot protect the soul, so authority begins to move inward. This is why intuition strengthens precisely when rational certainty collapses, because certainty was never the real goal. Truth was, and truth doesn't always arrive as language. Intuition doesn't argue, it doesn't persuade, it doesn't negotiate, it simply knows. And that terrifies the rational mind. Because intuition can't be controlled with explanations. It doesn't care how things look. It doesn't care about consensus. It doesn't care how much effort you've already invested. It only cares about alignment. This is why intuition often contradicts logic at first. Logic says, "This makes sense on paper." Intuition replies, "But it will cost you yourself." Logic says, "Be patient, be reasonable." Intuition says, "This is where you leave." Logic says, "You can endure this." Intuition says, "You already are," and it's killing you. And when intuition speaks like this, it doesn't shout, it withdraws. You feel it as tension, as fatigue, as a heaviness that doesn't lift no matter how well you explain things. This is why mature intuition feels quieter, not louder. It doesn't need to convince you, it waits. And the more inner work you do, the harder it becomes to ignore. Here's what most people misunderstand. Intuition doesn't grow stronger because you become mystical. It grows stronger because you become less self-deceptive. You stop overriding signals just to maintain stability. You stop dismissing discomfort as overthinking. You stop gaslighting your own body. You begin trusting sensation before explanation. And yes, this makes life less predictable, but it makes it truer. Many women experience this shift as a crisis. They say, "I don't recognize myself anymore. I used to be so logical. I don't know why I feel this way." What they're really saying is, "I can no longer abandon myself just to make things make sense." This is psychological maturity. The psyche has integrated enough shadow, grief, and awareness that it no longer accepts surface-level reasoning. It demands depth. It demands congruence. And intuition is the language of that demand. That's why relationships, careers, and identities often collapse during this phase. Not because intuition destroys things, but because it exposes what logic was holding together artificially. You can rationalize a misaligned life for years. You can justify emotional starvation. You can normalize emptiness. You can explain away disrespect. But intuition will not cooperate. It doesn't sabotage. It withdraws energy. You feel tired doing what once defined you, disconnected from roles you forced yourself to love, grieving something you can't fully name. That grief isn't loss. It's awakening. And here's the truth that changes everything. When intuition strengthens, it isn't asking you to abandon logic. It's asking you to dethrone it. Logic becomes a tool, not an authority. You still think clearly, you still analyze, but you stop sacrificing inner truth for external coherence. You stop waiting for certainty to move. You move because something inside you says, this is right. Even when it's terrifying, even when it makes no sense yet, even when you can't explain it to anyone else. That's when intuition stops being abstract. It becomes embodied. It becomes self-trust, not confidence, not arrogance, just a quiet refusal to betray yourself again. So if logic no longer calms you the way it used to, if explanations feel thin, if resonance matters more than certainty, this isn't the failure of reason. It's the emergence of inner authority. And once that happens, you don't go back. You're listening now. And that changes everything.